Hey guys, it's Shandelle, and you're tuned into another episode of Pink World on
Maybe I should try to be a little bit kinder to myself. I'm working on forgiveness. I know I can fix this. Trying to grow, trying to make amends with myself. Oh,
Welcome to Pink World, episode 29.
29.
That's a good number.
Yeah.
That's my mom's birthday number.
Really? Period.
29.
That's good shit.
Everybody's had like, a couple people have had like some like
correlation of sorts.
like tied to the episode number, which is fine. Yeah.
Right?
I love that. That is cool.
So who are you? What do you do?
I'm Shandelle. I like to consider myself an artist. I'm not really just a singer because I do a lot of different things. But yeah, I'm an artist.
Word. And where are you from?
I'm from Somerville. Not really a place that I'm like, oh my God, loud and proud. Like Somerville is like, it's cool, but you know, I never really grew up doing shit in my city, but I'ma still rep it because I've never moved and that's where I'm from. So
yeah,
as you should.
What's your background like? Starting like in childhood and how it connects to music.
Okay, so both my parents are Dominican, and my mom like grew up. Before I was born, I know that she did a lot of different things. I like to consider her like a cat. Like she got like so many lives and she did a lot of different shit before I was born. So I know she was like doing radio hosting for a while and she's always really like singing and stuff. Like I think the more artistry stuff comes from my mom, but then like a love and appreciation for music comes from my dad. Cause like my dad, I don't think he's like necessarily musically inclined, but I grew up listening to so much different shit because of my dad. Like always grew up in the car, like with the speaker system. Like I grew up on that, like since I was little. So I was listening to like a lot of bachata and like merengue and even a bunch of different like American music. And my mom put me on to like classical and like bossa nova and like all these different sounds from like other areas. So I would say that like the sound they put me onto is very worldly. And that kind of just connects into like my love and appreciation for music because I've always been like a big what's the word? I can't even remember. Like a savant, like a musical savant. Yeah. So that's kind of how that happened. But like I started singing when I was 4. I started dancing when I was 2. And that's kind of just like weaved in and out of like where I am today. Because for a long time, dance was like consuming my life. I danced for 12 years and I competed for 7 out of those 12 years.
Oh, wow. Oh, shit.
So I was like very serious about it at the time. Like I remember I was like 7. I was like, I'm gonna go to Juilliard. Like, we gonna do it big. Like I want to be part of a ballet company. Like I don't know. Like, girl, I was jaded.
Is that usually what you danced? Like ballet or like contemporary?
I did everything.
Yeah.
I literally did everything. Like I did ballet, tap, jazz, hip hop, lyric, modern, contemporary. I even did tumbling for a little bit.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was doing a lot. And once I moved from my first dance studio and I went to my second one, then I started competing, but I was also getting classically trained in ballet at the same time at a different studio. So I went to Jose Mateo in Cambridge. I don't know if y'all know about that. Yeah. It was like it was like Boston Ballet's like competitor, I guess. Okay. So I was there for like a couple years and then I took a break from dance because like in like 8th grade it was fucking with my body very badly. Like I almost had to get knee replacement surgery.
That's and that age crazy. Is wild.
Yeah, like imagine like 12 going into the doctor and then you get x-rays, they're like your knee plates are shifting and I'm like,
my what?
Yeah, so literally they were like, okay, you like they didn't give me an ultimatum, but they were like, you have 2 options. So you can either go to PT for a year and see how it goes, and like you can be with a dance specialist and they're gonna help you and fix everything, or like if that doesn't change anything, you have to get knee replacement surgery.
That's fucked.
I'm like, all right, we gonna go with the first option.
Yeah.
Like, cool, cute, yeah.
Let's take a little break. Okay.
But after that, like I realized I was like, yeah, I think it's time to like step on the brakes a little for dance. And like going to high school, I was like, it's already a big time sacrifice and I know my workload's gonna increase because I grew up in private Catholic school. So like I knew going into high school, like I had to do a placement test and like I had to like be in honors classes. So I was like, it's gonna be a lot of work and I feel like I can't handle that with dance. And I wanted to like explore different avenues. So like I took a break from dance in middle school, right before high school. But up until then, like I was doing dance, but at school I was doing choir, I was doing musical theater. So like I was very involved with that and like being that I grew up in a private Catholic environment for school. I was always singing in church like every week.
Yeah.
So that kind of played into my like background in music too. And I was playing piano up until like 10 as well, but then my teacher moved across the country and I couldn't find a better one. So I was like,
Yeah.
we good off this too.
Yeah.
But then like in high school, I played sports for a little bit and I was still like doing choir and shit. But I was just never like, my journey with music didn't start like on a personal level until I was like 15. Cause then I met Arc Zeus. I don't know if y'all know of him.
He's
performing at the show tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I met him through some like mutual friends that went to high school with me. And then like from there, I was like witnessing him and like everybody that I was friends with at the time just start to like submerge me in that music making environment instead of just like a musical environment, period. So like I was watching people record, watching people write, like seeing what
Just
really goes
around
on.
it a lot.
Yeah. And like at the time, everything was like pre-written for me. Like if they wanted something, they were like, oh, we want you on this track. But like I didn't feel confident enough to be like, okay, I can write this and like boom, bam, bam, and be like, yeah, I'll be on a track.
Yeah.
So everything was always pre-written for me. But then like when I was 18, which was like right in the middle of the pandemic, Zeus texted me because we've been friends since then. Like we've been friends for like 6 years.
Yeah.
And like at that point, it was like a very big turning point in like our friendship and then like my musical career too, because he was like, I think you need to buck up and like come to the studio and like work on something of your own, like for real. And I was like, it was like Christmas time and I was looking at my phone and I was like, what?
Yeah, there's so much going on.
I was like, y'all sure about this? Like, but like, as much as I was like very doubtful, I immediately said yes over text. I was like, okay, like we'll have a plan. Like starting January, like I'll come in once a week, and then that just turned into me making my EP that I dropped 2 years ago. And we were just locked in. Like I didn't have shit to do. Like it was my freshman year of college, but everything was online. So I didn't have shit to do. And I was just going to the studio like weekly and we finished the project in like 4 months.
Damn. That's
So that kind of has just like led me up to like where I am now. It's been kind of like a slow grind.
Yeah.
I feel like this year has been my most like successful and productive year when it comes to music and my career. But definitely at the time, like when I made my first project, I was like, whoa, like what the fuck is going on? I was in a writer's block for 8 months after I finished that project.
That's usually how it goes.
Yeah,
like after
it
you
is.
get it all out for a long period of time, like and
Yeah.
you're like steady working on shit, like then you're like, oh, what now?
Yeah.
No, literally, I was
exactly.
like, what the fuck comes next? Because I was
Yeah.
also just writing about like my experiences at the time. Like my EP is very like it's very self-aware of like the problems and like the experiences and the relationships I was facing at the time. So like closing that chapter and like putting it away, I was like, I haven't really experienced much since this because of the pandemic. So like what now? So I was like I was like kind of focused on school after that for a while, but even like last year was just interesting because I was focused on school, but I was just going through it at school. Like I was like, bro, like this is shifting my relationship with music in a way that I don't like mesh with at all.
Yeah.
Everything felt like an assignment for me.
Yeah.
And that was like a big, like, it was such pushback for me because I was like, I can't create anything without feeling like, oh, you know, like, what do I need to add for this so that it like sounds the way it should sound? Like just critiquing myself like way more than I ever did. I feel like as much as like being at Berkeley taught me about like music and it gave me like tools and resources, it also just like shifted my perspective completely because I never had like symptoms of like imposter syndrome or like I was never like questioning my artistry or like my identity as an artist and a performer until I went there.
Interesting.
I was
But you
just,
think
like-
it would be the opposite.
Literally,
But,
like,
I get
yeah.
it since it's so like structured and
does
shit. It
make
takes
sense.
takes the creativity out
they
of it.
do things like very structured and it's like very cookie cutter format to like their standard.
Yeah.
Which is cool. Like there's nothing wrong with that, but I just feel like it wasn't conducive to like me and like what I wanted to go there for at the time. So I was just like, I'm not connecting with this, but also I'm trying to connect with it and it's still not resonating. Like that's the thing they're teaching, like their curriculum is very like set. And I feel like sometimes it's not accommodating to like every learning style. Yeah. And like I have a combined learning style. Like I'm very hands-on, but I'm also like a visual and audio. Like I'm all of them.
sure,
Like I'm
for
all of
sure.
them mixed. So
Yeah.
like when I can't really like apply things like the way I should. I'm just like, what the hell? And I was trying to get tutoring. Like I had to withdraw from a class last year. I was like, damn, like
Bro, it'd be like that.
it really
The
I was
amount
not
of classes
aligning.
like we both withdrawn from and taking
A
breaks.
few.
and I
shit,
felt
like-
bad too because they gave me a scholarship last year. So I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like I'm not really supposed to be withdrawing from class. Like it's gonna
It's
set
a
my
part
GPA
of the
back.
process, though.
Yeah,
for real.
it really is. But that process came to an end anyways because I was like, I feel like this is just the bridging point from like who I am and like who I was and who I'm becoming and who I want to be. And Berkeley was kind of just like this bridge in the middle that I was
Yeah.
like learning how to walk over.
That's very interesting. What did you like originally go there for? Like,
So I wanted, like, I was majoring in vocal performance, but regardless, you have to do like all of the like core classes, like I guess like the gen eds of like Berkeley. So it's like a lot of stuff pertaining to like classical music and like composing and like writing shit like out on paper. And I'm not like,
I know
since
music sheet and like music theory is like hard.
it's
to
more
grasp.
complicated.
Yeah.
And like I'm a by ear musician. Like the way I started
Exactly.
like playing music, like playing the piano and singing, like it was all by ear. Like
Yeah.
literally I had a toy piano when I was like 4. I had a toy piano like in the hallway between my kitchen and my my bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom used to have this Beethoven CD. I've been looking for like the cover of that CD for years because that shit used to give me nightmares. It was low key scary. But
dead.
but I remember like she used to play it like on the radio in our kitchen like while she would cook, and like obviously everybody knows like the For Elise song, like the yeah everybody knows that song. And like I played it one day in the kitchen while my mom's cooking. She stopped and she's like, play that again. And I played it again and she was like, do you want to take piano lessons? And I was like fuck it, like
that's crazy.
Yeah.
we ball, I guess I'm taking piano. But I didn't resonate with any of my teachers at the time. Like I've never been someone who likes being told what to do, and like at the time I was only 4. Like
Yeah.
the teachers that were working with me, like they was not like, I don't think they were equipped to teach children. At least like one of them I had, she was very strict and like very she reminded me like very much of like a military style teacher. And then the other one, like she was just like too like playful and like carefree. And I was like, what am I
I need
doing
a balance.
here? Yeah.
for
But like because of that, like I've learned everything by ear. So like learning music theory, I'm like, there's a huge disconnect for me.
And
Like,
then
Too
I feel like-
technical. Like it's definitely too technical for somebody.
it feels
like
more
that.
scientific. Like that's how people
Yeah.
describe it. It's like more like the scientifical aspect of music versus
Yeah.
like something that's more abstract and like free form.
Yeah. And when you learn, when you like get into learning it, it's just like immediate, like a lot.
Bro, they throw you in and
They
you're just
start
like
too
I remember
much.
I took my they call it the ESPA, which is like the placement test for Berkeley. And I remember taking the ESPA in 2020 and I was like, I don't know what the fuck any of this shit means. Like I was breezing through the questions. I was like, okay, next. And I like almost failed the ESPA. I was like I don't know what class they're going to put me in if I'm like doing this bad and like school hasn't even started.
Yeah.
But honestly, like it wasn't hard to learn, but as like classes progressed, like last year I took some hard ass like theory classes and I was like almost failing.
Yeah.
I really had to find the right teacher and I was like praying on it when I applied for my classes. I was like, I need to get this teacher. But yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
theory is
know.
fucking tough, bro.
Theory's tough, and then they make you do like conducting, and it's like I'm never gonna conduct an orchestra.
Yeah.
Literally.
Like realistically.
That's
Literally.
crazy.
Like they make you get like the conducting baton and everything, and you have to like do it in class. So I'm just like,
Oh no.
a lot of the core classes just like made me lose interest in like what I was learning for real. And on top of that, I was just dealing with like a lot of outside stressors
Yeah.
and just being involved in like multiple performances at school at once. I was just like,
Yeah.
it's too much.
Deflates
too
the
much.
fuck out of you.
No,
Yeah.
literally, like last year, like I don't suffer from depression or anxiety, but I was definitely like depressed.
Going through it.
Yeah, like to an extent. I was like, wow, like, and it sucks too because I was very tunnel vision on just like completing everything. So I was just suppressing all of how I was feeling. And that's why it wasn't until the end of the year, like last May, that I realized I was like, fuck, like I don't want to be at school anymore. Like, I think it's time for me to just drop out for real.
Yeah.
And that was like a hard,
Yeah, how was that?
it was so hard to like come to terms with. Like
Yeah.
all of last June, I was depressed because like on the one hand, like June is forever going to be like a weird month for me now, like as of 2 years ago, because my grandfather passed away on.
Sorry to hear that.
It's
Yeah,
okay.
sorry.
He passed. That's my paternal grandfather. He passed away on my maternal grandmother's birthday. Yeah. So I was like,
That's a lot.
so like her birthday hasn't been the same, and
Yeah.
then like my birthday is like a week after. So like and on top of that, I was just like, fuck, like, I don't know how to tell my mom. Because, like, I knew I was going to tell my mom first before my dad. Because my dad was going to fly out to, like, be with his family in DR during that time. Because it was, like, a year of his passing. So all of last June, I was just like, what the fuck? Like, how do I say this to her? Like, how is she going to believe me? Like, how is she going to, like, not think that this was, like, a decision that was made on a whim? Even though, like, it definitely, like, seemed and, like, felt that way. But it wasn't. Like, when I was, like, analyzing all of my emotions about it and I was breaking it down like over the course of like since I got out of like spring semester in May and then like up until I spoke to her, I was like, in reality, like if we think about it, I've been feeling this way for like 6 to 8 months now, maybe even a year, but I've just been so busy and like overwhelmed that I've been suppressing it. And I was dealing with other like really emotionally like taxing situations and relationships and like environments. So I wasn't really focused on like, oh, like, are you sure you want to be here type shit.
And like trying to find a good time to make that difficult decision.
No,
through
literally,
all of that, like,
literally. And I told her, and like it didn't go well because like she was crying, and like then I started crying, and I wasn't planning on it. I was like, bro, like I just want to be able to talk to her about this and like get it over with, and just like case closed. Like this is the decision I'm making. I have a backup plan. Like.
And since you took so long to marinate over it and shit, and then you made the decision, it's like you kind of expect, like, okay, like, this is what I already went through it. Like,
literally,
because
I had to emotionally regulate myself.
Exactly.
Literally, like, I was going through it. I was crying alone. Like, I was like, fuck, like, I don't know how to do any of this, like, because I'm a non-confrontational person. I don't like confronting people and, like, having difficult conversations. So, like, I had to go over it in my head, like, so many times. Like, I was, like, speaking to, like, close family members about it. I was, like, trying to journal about it. I was, like, how the fuck, like, am I supposed to talk to her? Because, like, I was more scared of her reaction than my dad's. And, like, for obvious reason, because she was crying as soon as I told her. And she was, like, I feel like you're making a mistake. Like, this is not what I see for you and, like, your future and your career. And I feel like a degree there is going to benefit you. And I'm, like, really, though? Because, like, I've had all the resources I need since I was, like, 15.
Yeah.
Like, and it really
the world
wasn't.
doesn't really work like that anymore.
It definitely doesn't. And that's the reason why my dad was okay with it. He was like, things are changing. Like, you don't need a degree to get hired in most places anymore.
That's good.
And, like, he wasn't pressing me to, like, get a degree anywhere else or, like, even go back to school if I don't want to. He was like, as long as you're being responsible, like, that's all I care about. And I was like, wow, like.
Yeah.
I didn't expect this reaction from you.
Shit.
Like, I was more happy that he was okay with it. But we had the conversation after he came back, and my mom was in the room. She gave him the illest side eye. She was like,
bombastic.
she was like, what did he say?
What did he say?
And it was just like, yikes. Like, maybe I shouldn't have had the conversation like with the both of them there, but like she was just mad that like he wasn't siding with her. But like at the end of the day, like I came to that decision and like I was very like headstrong about it. I was like, bro, there's no shaking me and like there's no changing my mind. Like I just don't want to be there anymore. And like her of all people should have known better, because like she was literally right by my side, like as I was like crying, breaking down, like going through all of the shit that I was going through during the 2 years that I was at school. Like she should have known like way more than my dad. But she was just like crying, and she was like, I feel like you should think about this more and like figure it out and like give it more thought.
Not like, knowing you've been thinking about it constantly.
I'm like, girl,
for how long?
I'm like, sorry, but we're not giving it a second thought. Like, no, I was just set on it. But
so what year was this?
This was last year. This was 2022.
22.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was when I like made the decision. And I was like still hanging around like certain things in school. Like I was part of an a cappella group. It was called Pitch Slapped. It's like super famous, I guess, like globally.
No, yeah. Are they like close in range with like the nor'easters?
Yes, I think we competed against them at one point. Not me saying we, like I'm still in the group. I left the group in December, but like I didn't leave because I didn't like them. Like I just left because like I already made the decision so long ago that like I'm leaving, I'm not coming back, and like for a while I was still like trying to hold on to that because like it was something that was bringing me joy, but like in the fall and like the winter this year, I was just like, it's taking up too much of my personal time. Yeah. And I need to like start focusing on my personal music again. Yeah. Now that I made this choice to drop out, like I need something to prove of myself to like my parents at least. Cause like over the summer, like after I told my parents, my mom was like, "Are you just gonna work your minimum wage job like the rest of your life?" I was like, "Girl," I was like, "Wait, like, can you give me some time? Like,
yeah, I'm gonna figure it out.
We just made this decision.
Yeah.
Like, hold on." And it's like I'm young too. Like, you
Facts.
can't expect me to figure out in like 2 seconds. Like,
It doesn't work that way.
it takes time and it takes experience and like life be lifing. So like, it doesn't take a break for anybody. So
It do be lifing.
I was going through a lot of shit still, and just like learning different things. And I was like, bro, y'all gotta give me like 2 seconds to like breathe and like relax and then like recenter myself and be like, okay, like I had a 6-month plan when I told them.
That's
but like
important.
once December was approaching, I was like, okay, well, I need another plan for like the next 6 months or like the next year out. And I didn't necessarily like tell them what that plan was, but like I was very much heavily praying and like manifesting on all the things that have been happening since January. I was like like heavily praying on it at the end of December. Like I had a conversation with Zeus about it on my mom's birthday, actually. Like we had a studio session that day, and like he picked me up and we were just like talking, and I was like, bro, like I feel like the last like year and a half has just been so stagnant for me, like in music. Like, where are my shows? Like, why am I not getting booked? Like, when is the next project being made? When are we doing these collabs? Like, when am I gonna get on a podcast? Like, when is all of this gonna happen? Like, I'm just trying to like line it up the best way I know how and just like really pray on it. Like I did a victory jar last year in 2022 of like all my accomplishments, and I haven't even gone through and looked at them. But I already
fire though.
But I already know that like 2023, we're only in like the beginning of April, but it's like already way more shit than I had in 2022.
That's dope.
And it's cool because it's like I asked for it all, and it's all kind of like happening and like lining up the way I like wanted it to. It just kind of sucks like balancing the burnout of everything.
Definitely.
yeah.
I was just gonna ask you. So like, how do you kind of deal with like the burnout? Like that's a lot of pressure to put on yourself to like line shit up, and especially doing it for you, it's kind of harder to. It's easier to do shit for other people than to do it for yourself.
No,
So,
literally, especially because like I'm breaking out of my people pleasing habits. It's definitely hard for me to do shit for myself first.
Bro,
but
for real.
Usually, whenever people ask me this question, like, oh, you know, like how do you deal with the burnout, whatever. Like if it's like a friend of like family member, whatever, I'm like, I don't. Like I don't have a, like
That's a lot of people's answer. To be
like
honest.
I
Like,
don't have a way
I
that
don't know how.
Like I don't have a way that I deal with it per se. It's just like whenever I have free time, I'm like resting, like dead ass. Like I'm sleeping. Like you can ask TT and Sam. I'm just like they've caught me like on FaceTime like sleeping. Like we'll be in group FaceTimes and I'll like end up falling asleep because like it's a day off or like I got home from
like
work
that.
and I'm like fucking exhausted.
Yeah.
So like 9 times out of 10 I spend my time like sleeping to like recover from burnout, but like now I'm trying to like re-compartmentalize all my time. So like I've started to wake up early again to go to the gym. Yeah. Like I used to be a big like gym rat like this time last year. And then you take a break for like one
Don't
day.
even get me started
and then it
on
turns
that.
into like 8 months. And that's exactly what happened. Like I stopped like one day in August and then I didn't go back until like now.
Don't even get me started.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to like
so
wake
many
up.
phases of that type shit.
Yeah, like trying to, even my workout journey, like it's just been so complicated. Like, excuse me, like I've always had like a love-hate relationship with working out, especially because like I'm a big dance person. Like I just love dancing.
facts.
Like that's like a sport for me and that's like my workout. You couldn't pay
Greatest
me
form of
like
cardio, bro.
you could literally, bro, like my mom has always said this about me and like it's so true. Like you could put me in a dance studio for like 10 hours and be like, okay, you need to dance all day, no break. I'm like, word, like
Let's
say
go.
less. Like I got you, like put the music on. Like I'm a even freestyle. But then like you asked me to run on a track for like 2 minutes. I start dry heaving like I got asthma. I'm not even asthmatic, like, and I start dry heaving like I have asthma. Yeah. Like it just doesn't align with me. I think the only sport that I tried in high school that I like really felt like I was good at was swimming. Like I played volleyball, basketball, and softball, and I really liked volleyball and softball, but like I got cut sophomore year. So then I was like, okay, like let's try swimming. And swimming was really good. Like I was on varsity for 2 years. But then it fucked up my shoulders and my back. So I'm like,
That's usually the case. First your knees, bruh. Now
and
you
like
fucking shoulders.
literally. And so through that, like I was just like, okay, well, I'm not really doing sports like the later half of high school. So I was like, okay, let me try like working out again. And then the pandemic hit and I was like, oh fuck.
Can't
like,
go to the fucking gym.
Yeah, but
like-
even when I started going to the gym, I was like, I don't fucking like it here. Like I was going to Planet Fitness for like 2
gym
I was not even there for
Fitness-
2 weeks.
Yeah.
It hadn't even been 2 weeks. And I was
grimy.
like, I'm out, fuck this shit.
You
like,
have to have a good gym for you to like want to work out.
And at the time, and at the time I was like, I don't even fuck with the machines. Like, I don't care. Like, I just want to work out at home. Like, I don't want people looking at me. They be saying like Planet Fitness is a judgment-free zone. I'm like,
but y'all be judging.
I be feeling really judged in there. So like, I don't know. I left, and then during the pandemic, I was doing like home workouts, and I was so fucking skinny during quarantine, and I was just like, wait, like I'm losing weight, but like I just look like a twig now. Like, what's going on? And then like last year, I started going to Crunch, and I was like, Crunch is my baby. Like now like we're locked in. Now we're locked in, and like now I actually enjoy working out in the gym, and like
people love the baddies love Crunch.
They do.
Crunch is just a nice gym. Like it's simple and effective, and it has everything you need, and it's not too expensive.
Yeah.
And it's just cleaner, and like I don't know, people there are nice. Like you make good friends at the gym. Like I didn't feel like I could talk to people at PF, and then like when I went to Crunch, like people started talking to me. I see like at my location, I see a lot of people from high school though, which is kind of just like
I don't love that, but
like I go so early in the morning that I don't really be seeing people unless it's the summer. Summer is kind of when I start seeing people that I know. But like during the year, I go in the morning like 7 a.m., 8 a.m. and I don't really see anybody. So it's cool.
Good time. How like is it hard for you to wake up like early?
Yes.
Because
I'm not a morning
person. To so bad, and it's
so
just too fucking
because it would just make everything so much easier if you like made the time in the morning.
No, and I'm realizing that again. I'm realizing it again because like
then you
every
don't have
time
to worry about it.
Literally every time I have this like slump where I'm like not going to the gym or like I feel so burnt out and I'm trying to get my shit together, I always start by like going to the gym again. I'm like, okay, we need to wake up at 7 every day and like get all this done. Yes. And I'm not a morning person. I was born at almost midnight. Like I'm a night owl, like for real. Yeah. So waking up in the morning, it's a task. And I'm also like low key an insomniac. So like I don't be sleeping. Like I be going to bed at like 3 and then I wake up at 7:30 for the gym and I'm like, how am I like functioning like to work out right now? But then after I'm done, I'm like, wow, it's only 10 in the morning. Like
there's so much
like good. Like we can spend the rest of the day doing whatever else. And I get like 3 days off during the week. So I get to just like, I mean, my off days never really feel like off days, but like to like counteract my burnout, I try to like spend those off days with like friends and family as much as I can. Cause that kind of like recenters me. Like it's honestly like for some people like maintaining the burnout is like to be creative and like express it somewhere. But like for me, it's more of just like recentering with people that I care about. Cause like I'm very much a social person and like being around people makes me feel more comfortable and like makes me happier. And like, that's not even to say that I'm not comfortable being alone because like I love being alone. Like I love my own company. I used to not. So like the growth is there. Because I love being alone and I love my company. It's just part of being an
extrovert.
Yeah, but like feeling alone is a totally different thing. Like I'm still not comfortable with feeling alone. But like being alone now, like I'm like, I love myself. Like I could be in my room 24/7, like whatever. But I'd rather be outside. Like I'd rather just be like, oh my God, hi, I haven't seen you in XYZ amount of time. Like what's good?
Yeah. I feel that. I definitely feel that. Do you feel like basically like last year when you left Berkeley, do you feel like that kind of kick-started I don't know how long you've like known people in the Boston like music scene, but do you feel like that kind of put you more into that zone?
That shit lit a fire in my eyes. Yes. Like and that was a goal of mine. Like while I was there, I was like, oh, you know, like while I'm there, like I could still be working on music and like get to like network and tap in with people from like the deeper part of the Boston community. Cause like I'm like technically greater Boston area. Like that's what they like consider like Somerville, Cambridge, whatever. That's like greater Boston area. So I'm not like in, you know, like Boston, Dorchester, like Roxbury. Like I'm not really around there often. Like even though I got family out there, so I've always grown up like being in those spaces. I never like networked with any of the like musicians out there. So like I've always known to like Key, Tomo, like Nate Nicks, like all those people. Like I knew of them, but I knew of them from a distance. And I was like, damn, like why can't we like bridge these two worlds together? Like I really want to know these people. I want to meet them and like see what they do and like go to their shows. And like I feel like ever since I dropped out, like I've just been getting constant like reaffirming things that like let me know like, hey, like you made this choice and it's like actually working for you. It's paying off. Cause like once like winter came, like I was going to shows and I was meeting everybody. So I was like, wow, like I prayed on this and like I wanted this for so long and now I get to meet all these people, work with them. Like some of them are like my closest friends at this point in time. So it's just like, it's crazy how that shit happens. But like leaving definitely like lit some shit up my ass. I was like, wow, like this is really happening for me.
Yeah. So you talk a lot about like spirituality and stuff like that, manifestation and praying and stuff like that. How does that play a role? I'm sure it plays a huge role, but talk a little bit about like what like role spirituality and like or like religion plays in like your music, your art, or just like your life in general.
Okay, yeah. So obviously, like I already said, I grew up Catholic, but I don't really consider myself like a religious person anymore.
That's the case for most
like,
people.
yeah, like
moving away
I
from structured religion.
I just like I don't. It grew to a point like where it felt like an empty practice for me, especially like after like my junior year of high school. It was like a super low point in my life, and I was taking theology class, and like in theology, I was like. Excuse me, I keep like burping.
It's probably the little alcohol. I don't even know what's in that cup.
But
actually.
it's just water. It's just water. But like I was sitting in theology and like we were like talking. We had like different worksheets. I loved my theology teacher junior and senior year. Like shout out Miss Seminar. I don't know if she's ever gonna listen to this podcast. But, like I loved her. Like that was a great theology teacher. Cause like she didn't make it necessarily about like like learning about religion and like all the history of it and like oh my God, like here's how you need to believe in God and Jesus and da-da-da. Like she made it more like secular. So she made it about like other things. Like she brought in like a lot of activism and stuff into like our theology classes.
Tying
so it was really
like
cool.
Modern day
dope.
stuff.
Yeah, it was really cool. Like she organized her class curriculum herself, and like I'm sure that took her years, but like it was worth it, at least for me as a student, because I enjoyed taking class with her. But I remember in junior year, like there was a point in time where I was like do I even believe in God right now? Like where is he?
Yeah.
Like where is he in me and in my life? Because like I didn't even feel like it just felt like every time I was like calling or like pleading for like communication or like for some sort of answer or just for like a relationship with him, it just felt like I was like spitting that out into like a void. So I was like,
you didn't feel connected.
I didn't feel connected at all. Like it was not resonating with me. And like going to church, like I started sleeping in church and I was like, damn bro, like I'm really not connecting with this shit anymore. And then like junior year was also when like I started like developing like an altar and like I started getting crystals and like I started reading up more on like astrology and like meditation and different like spiritual practices. And that's kind of when shit like started to shift for me and like just trying to tap into like more of a manifestation bag. Like my mom always told me, like she was low-key giving me the drop growing up without telling me like this is what it was.
I feel that.
But anytime she was like, anytime like a big opportunity was coming, she was like, just like wait, before you go to sleep, like tell yourself, like picture yourself in the scenario, or like just tell yourself that you already have it, and like thank God in the universe that you already have it. Like she was putting me on game. I was like 10 and she was putting me on game.
So you were
and, like,
starting that shit
and
young.
like now I'm just like able to do that shit like second nature, and like it just plays a part in my music because I feel more emotionally connected to everything I talk about, and I'm like I'm trying to be more limitless in my like writing style and in my vulnerability, but like it'd be hard because it's like I want to write about you and I want to spill some tea on you, but like I don't want to air you out on streaming platforms. Like fuck, like that's really like that takes so much balls, and like I haven't fully got there yet. Like I've definitely like written about some people where it's like if they listened they'd probably be like, oh yeah, like this is about me. This is about me, or like, oh, is this about me? Like, I feel like it could be. Like, it's definitely gotten to that point already. But like, I feel like for me to be more vulnerable and like spill out like extreme details and like be really specific and like put the microscope on like certain scenarios and like shit that I've gone through, I feel like I'm not there yet. But I'm trying to like grow myself to a place where that can feel normal. Even if I'm like not releasing it in a song, like I be holding myself back. Like I'm like, I be avoiding my journal. I'm like, fuck, like I should be doing this right now, and I'm really not. And like I be feeling guilty, but like because everything happens at its own pace.
Yeah, it low-key be like emotionally taxing sometimes. That's the reason.
Because it almost feels like you're reliving it, kind of. Yeah. Shit is
which is definitely important, but like it's definitely hard to like revisit it like multiple
100%. And like I'm a person who like I remember a lot of shit. Like I'm very much like a forgive but don't forget type person. So like I'll rethink some shit and I'm like, you know, like present me is over this now, but like what the fuck? Like why did you do why did you hurt me like
let's
this?
Talk about
like
it. Let's talk about it.
Like let's unpack it for real.
Let's unpack it.
Yeah, but I think that kind of like just plays a role into everything that I've like why am I like tongue tied right now?
Because the music stopped.
Yeah, it is because the music stopped. No bullshit. But like,
ridiculous.
it just plays into like everything that I've like watched unfold for myself, and then it's just playing a role into like who I'm stepping into as a person and as an artist to like make sure that my music and my artistry just like encompasses me authentically as much as possible.
Yeah.
It's very helpful for real. But like, I think the thing about spirituality for a lot of people that makes it like hard for them to grasp is that it's not a tangible thing like religion.
Yeah.
Where like religion, like you can go to church every Sunday, you could take communion, you could drink the wine, you could read the Bible, and you can pray.
Yes.
Like, and you can look for something whenever you're struggling. Spirituality is not like that.
Yeah.
Like your ancestors, like they will be knocking on the door,
yeah.
but you can't tell because like if you're closed off to that and you're not receptive of it, you're not gonna know.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
it requires a lot of openness and like vulnerability that a lot of people are afraid of, and like
For sure.
people like see spirituality as like a turnoff or like something weird or like something to stray away from because it's like such a vulnerable thing. Like you're facing like your rawest, like purest form of yourself, like flaws and all, and a lot of people are afraid of that like self-awareness and acceptance.
Oh, yeah.
So like for a lot of people, spirituality is like, oh, like bitches like crystals, like
Exactly.
Like crystals.
like, oh, you a zodiac sign, bitch, like, oh.
Dead ass.
But it's
more
deeper
to
than that.
it.
Literally, like
Yeah.
it's deeper than that. Like, what if you looked
Yeah.
into numerology and you were like, oh, I actually really fuck with
Yeah.
this, or like
Exactly.
if you just looked into like the houses of your chart and like why that plays into like who you are, and like you don't have to believe it all the way. Like I
Yeah.
feel like people think like, even with religion, you don't have to believe it all the way.
Exactly.
So
Most
it's
people
like
don't.
most people don't. So
Exactly.
like, why do you take it so concretely and like
I
so serious
agree.
with like spirituality and like zodiacs and shit? Like it's
Dead
all
ass.
with a grain of salt. Like
For
please.
real.
I
You only
can't.
take what resonates, boo.
Literally
You-
every TikTok tarot reader. Only take what resonates, leave the rest.
Yeah, leave the
like,
rest.
Yeah,
Okay, I guess.
literally.
No bullshit.
Who are some of your like inspirations? Like whether it be like other creatives or like family members.
It's a big question. I feel like I'm gonna have a long
a
list.
loaded
And I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, fuck, how am I gonna answer this question? There's definitely like some artists in the industry that like at a point in time I was inspired by them musically, but now I'm just inspired by like the people they are. Like my biggest one being Rihanna. Like I wouldn't say like I'm inspired by her music like as much as I used to be. Especially because she's very like pop and commercial.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely very inspired by her like as a business mogul and like as an
Yes.
entrepreneur.
Just as a whole.
Just
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
who she is and like how she carries herself in the industry as a whole
sure.
is very inspiring. Same thing with like Tyler the Creator. Like the whole brand he's made for himself and like just like his whole universe of like
His
Golf
whole world,
LaFleur and like
yeah.
Golf Wang and everything, like it's very inspirational. And just the fact that he like I remember I saw this I think it was like a screen capture. I think it was of like the dog tooth video or like Sorry Not Sorry or whatever, where he had like the different like the old
Sorry Not
version,
Sorry.
like
my
the,
Twitter
yeah.
the
header.
old
That's
eras
literally
of
my
Tyler.
header
I
on
was like,
Twitter.
this is so fire that like you branded yourself
And the
this way
end
for
where
so
he
long.
was beating up Call Me If You Get
Yeah.
Lost era, I was like,
Bro, I
Who
haven't.
is he now?
It's funny because I haven't watched the music video yet, but like I
You
saw the
need to
screen.
tap
I
in.
saw the screenshot and I was like,
Yeah.
wow, like this is so crazy that
Yeah.
you've been able to brand yourself and like push through controversy and like allegations and like almost getting canceled just to be
real.
like. Wow, everybody's so proud of you, and you won this
Literally.
Grammy,
Just
and
to be
like
this
people are
mogul
still
now,
and
like-
people are still anticipating all your music and like all your clothing and whatever you're doing next for yourself. Like that's very inspiring
I
because
could
like
talk about his come up for years.
Deadass.
because just to like be able to push through like that in the face of adversity, like that shit is tough. Like when I'm like facing adversity, I'm like, bitch, like I
You
wanna,
crawl into your hermit.
yeah, especially
you're-
like as a Cancer, like I'm very much like I'll retreat immediately.
yeah. Which
Like,
is so interesting because he's a Pisces.
all
And
water
I-
signs are like that. Like I feel
Yeah.
like, but like it's funny. It just really depends on like whatever else is in your chart for you to be able to be
Yeah.
like,
I
whatever.
know.
Like I don't give a fuck. But
Yeah.
yeah, so those two are like super inspiring as like business moguls. And then I feel like musically, oh my god, I probably have to start with like famous people first and then go back to like locals. But
Yeah.
like Snow Allegra, Kali Uchis,
Yeah.
Kehlani, SZA, Summer Walker. I've really been listening to like a lot of Cleo Soul lately. I love Ari
Cleo
Lennox.
Soul's so good.
She's amazing. She
She's
needs to come to the
fire.
US like now. Like
Nope,
I'm
right now.
tired of it.
No bullshit.
Oh my god, who else have I like Solange?
Yeah.
I'm very inspired by Beyonce also as a mogul, not
as a
really as
mogul.
like a musician.
No,
Yeah.
for sure.
Even though like she's crazy
I get
talented.
that, though,
Like I hate when people
completely.
like try to dismiss her talent. Like bro, like she can do everything that you never will be able to. Unfortunately, like no tea, no shade. But like she could do shit that like half of the population could not even come close
Literally.
to. So like she's super inspiring. I was listing off. Oh, like I love oh my god, I like a lot of indie artists too. Like I grew up on like a lot of Paramore too.
Yeah.
And I really like just shit that sounds different. Like I like Men I Trust, like the Marias.
I like Men I Trust too.
I'm trying to think of like more. There's definitely like more females that I'm. Ew, I hate that word. I hate that word so much.
Females.
Like it comes out first because like people just like, especially like lately I've seen it so much, like when people call like women athletes like female athletes on Twitter, I'm like, okay. But yeah, as far as like all the women in the music industry, I feel like there's a lot that I'm missing for sure. But like when it comes to like men, I already said Tyler the Creator. I love Miguel. I love Brent Faiyaz. Love like oh my god, who I love Mac Miller. Like ASAP Rocky. Love damn, why are the men like harder for me to think of right now? Who have I been listening to a lot lately? Drake, like Drake, J. Cole. Like, why am I not thinking of those like first? That's really funny. Who else? Oh my god, I'm like major blanking right now.
Nah, you said a good couple.
Yeah, I be
you're-
listing a lot of people. I already said Kehlani. Yeah, okay. Oh, like Destin Conrad.
Oh yeah. It's interesting to see his like progression through like
I
the
love
music
his
community.
I love his trajectory. Him
I know.
and Jay Versace. Like I'm so proud of them. Like
Yes,
those
literally.
are like I watched y'all being like stupid and funny on
I
the internet, like on
know.
Vine, and like now y'all are doing like these
Yeah.
big things. It's so
I forget
crazy.
which one of them like produced a track for somebody that just like came out with this single, and I forget who it was, but that shit was fire, and I was
Yeah.
like, yo, you're working with this person? Like
Jay
it was one
Versace
of those.
is stupid. He's
Yeah,
nuts.
yeah, I think it was him.
I think like also when it comes to like rap, like Nicki Minaj, obviously.
Yeah.
Even though like the way her career has progressed and like her
Crazy.
persona, it like very much disappoints me, and I'm just like, girl,
I know, like you
like
could've
let's
done
do
so
let's do
much.
better, love.
It
but like
actually is upsetting.
Yeah.
but like as far as like rap, like her Smino did, and like a lot of like Dreamville people, and a lot of like
Yeah.
OVO Party Next Door,
Right next
like
door.
Majid Jordan is fire
Yeah.
too. Roy Woods, I like want to hear more of.
I
but,
know.
like,
forgot
he
about
can't-
Roy
he
Woods.
fucking fell off, and it's
that's
so
the thing,
sad.
yeah. But like, like Jordan Ward is really cool too. Yeah, just like a lot of. I listen to like everything.
Yeah, I
so
feel
like
you.
it's a lot.
I
like-
resonate with like everybody. You're saying, like,
Literally.
Oh
I'm
my
like,
god!
yep.
Literally, I forgot about Kirby and like Kalela and oh my god, fuck. Yeba. Oh my
Yeba,
god. Like I
yeah.
love Yeba, bro. Oh, Yeba, Brandy, Jasmine Sullivan. Like these are like vocal Bibles.
Yes.
So like I'm like very happy that I remember those things. I'm like, yes, I love them. But as far as like locals, like TT, Sane, and like Tomoki, obviously like Arc Zeus and Nate Nix and like all the people I competed against in the chamber, like
Yeah.
I cannot believe like they put me up against Notebook P. I was like, y'all putting me up against
crazy.
like somebody that is very famous in the community. Like
But shit,
he
that is a
famous, he
compliment.
famous. So I
Right,
was just
is
like,
that
whoa,
ass.
like performing, like competing against P and Kareem. I was just like, whoa, like y'all are like hometown heroes, and like this is something to be very proud of. Like win or lose,
real.
like this is something to be so proud of, and like just to have an honor to be like in the same space as those people. It's just like whoa, because y'all
Yeah.
are so talented.
No, for
like,
real.
so like Kareem, P, who else? Like Nolly, who else do I listen to that's like local? Oh my god, I love Bella, Sleeping Bella. She's like more indie. Mako's also very indie. He's an
I know
opener
who
for my
that
show.
is.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fire.
Yeah, and like everybody from like my my label, so like Zenith, everybody from like the Zen division, so like Asani, Keys, Ty, aka like T Clips, that's his artist name, and like Godinho and Envy which is Nate, and then why am I blanking? There's more people. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Are there more people? Well, HP is a producer, but I fuck with HP too. Just like the whole division, like everybody. Oh, Sensei Soul, he's also opening for me for my headliner. Just like all of those people, because I grew up with them and like they put me in this scene in the first place.
Yeah,
and like they're just so fire. But I listen to like everybody locally, like everybody that was in the last round of the chamber, killer, amazing. Everybody that was in my chamber, like me and TT, like it was amazing.
The
like,
chamber has some fire ass lineups, bro.
Yeah, bro.
It's
so
been
like
getting better and better.
No
I
bullshit.
think.
as far as like those people, like they all inspire me, like as people, but also as artists in the community. And then like when it comes to like family, I would say like literally like just like my mom, like my parents, obviously, like by default, because they hustle. Like my mom did a lot and she sacrificed a lot for me to be able to like do what I do now. And like she's always been and like always will be my biggest cheerleader. So like just having somebody like that in your corner is like so essential. Like that shit is so vital. People don't be realizing like how important
system.
Yes, like how important like support is and how not everybody has that. Like it's a privilege that you need to be thankful for. And then like my cousin Melina, she's probably gonna listen to the podcast, but that is literally like my sister that isn't like blood, because like her mom is like my second mom, my auntie, like she's like a second mom to me, and we grew up literally like sisters. Like we were doing everything together. Like people even say we look like sisters. I feel like we only look like sisters when I don't have makeup on, but like that's twin for real. Like that's
It'd be like that.
we've been through like a lot of shit together, and she's always been very supportive of me, like no matter what she's doing in life and like no matter where I am, she's like, you know, I love you. I'm always here for you. I'm always like gonna be super proud of you. So yeah, like things like that. And like
fire.
my family is like full of like cool people who do a lot of cool shit. Like one of my younger cousins, she is in college right now and she's like an aspiring model, and it's cool to see like her trajectory too, because like that was shit that I was never really like expecting like when we were kids. I feel like in my family when we were kids, everybody knew that like I wanted to be like big, I wanted to be known, I wanted to be this like huge artist, and like I've always been striving towards that. But like I don't know if like everybody could tell like the same about my other cousins and like my other family members. So like
But you see it.
Yeah, so like to be older now and like we're almost at like the same like playing field, and I get to see her like walking these shows like locally. I'm like, hey, like this is cool. Like this is something to be very proud of, because it's like I would have never known when we were younger, but like you have a dream and you're chasing after it. Like that's beautiful. I support anybody who does that, like whether it's family or not. So yeah, like I have a lot of people who inspire me on a daily basis.
That's amazing. That's a blessing too. No
It
bullshit.
is.
How important do you think it is to give people their flowers?
All the time. It's so important. Like I was just on another podcast earlier this week. Shout out Space for Growth. But they asked me, they brought up like the subject of like friends and like cherishing your friendships. And I was like, yeah, bro, like every day I try to tell at least like one person that I'm close to, or like that's like very prominent in my life. Like I let them know that I love them. I'm like, hey, like I love you. Like thank you for what you do for me. Thank you for like just like allowing me in your space just the same way I allow you in mine. Like that's super vital. And just like to let people know that like life is short. Like not even to be like on some cliche.
But it is.
Like but it's like you could get got any day. Like
No bullshit.
one of my coworkers was just talking to me about how like somebody that she knows like literally just was eating like a buffet and then like came home and fucking passed away. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, yeah, I was like, bro, like it could literally be anyone's time. Like you could get clipped like this. So it's crazy, and you have to like let people know that you're like appreciative and that you're grateful and that you love them. And I feel like gratitude opens up a lot more like opportunities for you, and it puts you in a space of abundance to like receive and give more, because it's not just about receiving. Like you also have to like give out like what you take in.
Exactly.
So definitely I try to like remind people that I love them like all the time. I always thank people for anything that they do for me and like anything that they're a part of. I always try to pay it forward too. Yeah. So like if I can do something, like if I'm like, hey, like I can cover you for food, or like, hey, if you need something, like I got you, like whatever it is. And I always try to credit people where credit is due. Yeah. Like I have a single coming out next week, and like on the credit slide, there's like 8 people listed on it, and like I don't even know if Titi like wanted to be on the credit thing because like
I know I saw that.
She just like
Titi,
because like she just helped me like with like creative direction on like a Pinterest board. But like even that like something so small, I was like, bro, she needs credit for this because
I
like
love that.
that's like assistance that like you know like I wouldn't have been able to like even have the shoot had it not been like me on a FaceTime call with her and I'm like, I'm about to make a Pinterest board. Like, can I send it to you? You can add something if you feel like it fits. And she was like, yeah, I got you. So
gratitude is an important practice.
Yeah, like having an attitude of gratitude, essential, bro. Like walking around bitter too. Like, what the fuck are you gonna get from like being like bitter and spiteful and like negative and like ungrateful for things? So like to be grateful and thankful is like, it's just a necessity. It's not even like something that you should strive for. Like it's actually something that you need in your life.
Yeah.
100%.
I really like that idea too, like of what you do with your single, because that is just like a thing in the music industry that a lot of people don't do. Like even not crediting their producers. Like how the fuck does that work?
Producers are so essential. Like
you wouldn't have
like
the song wouldn't
the
be
producer
there.
is half of you. Like
exactly.
Like I always like pay it forward with my producers. Like
and your engineers. Like
yes. Like everybody needs to get their credit. I really like artists like Victoria Monet who like and like Doja Cat and like Ariana Grande who like whenever they have something, they're always giving credit. Like specifically Doja Cat and Victoria Monet, like whenever they have like a shoot or like a concept or something, their caption is hella fucking long, full of ton of Instagram handles, like just like thank you, special shout out to XYZ, like,
and that's
thank
inspiring because as you come up, I feel like that's like rare. Like
it's rare, but like it shouldn't be because like that's not. It doesn't even take that much effort for you to do that, like
at all. And then you're helping other people get put on, and like other people find dope fucking people.
Literally, like it takes you 2 seconds to credit somebody. Like if those are 2 minutes that like you're so sad that you won't get back, like bro. Imagine how they feel that like they put all the hours on you and they're getting slighted because like they're like I had this girl her name is Jai. She did my wig for the chamber, and the day that I was getting my wig installed by her, we pushed back my appointment a few hours because she was gonna do like one of Glorilla's friends, like she was doing her hair, like she was styling it. And she came back and I was like, well, how was it? And she was like, it was really good, like it went so well. But they like gave me the option to either get like tagged in the post or to get paid. And I chose the tag, and I'm like, girl, like you didn't want to get paid for that? Like you didn't want your credit in that way that you deserve.
The option
like
is crazy.
The option is really like, it's a really like tippy scale. Like when she told me that, I was like,
the option, like that's
when she told me that, I was like, this is crazy. Like I feel like both should come by default. Like I feel like you should get the tag and paid. Like that's crazy. But like, you know, as a business person, like I'm not an entrepreneur, I'm not a business owner, like I'm not gonna know like the ways that I need to take steps to like push my brand forward and my business forward. So like she felt like very strong in that decision, and I'm proud of her because like she eats down. Like she's a really good stylist, and she's really good at what she does with hair. So like more power to her that like she got a tag from Glorilla's friend because like that put her on. But like me personally, like when I hear stuff like that, I'm like, you deserve more. Like you deserve more, and you should carry yourself like you deserve more because you should like, you know that, so you should like translate that outside. You know what I mean?
That's a wild.
It's
That's
crazy. That like when she told me that, I was kind of gagged. I was like, girl, what you mean like a tag or you get paid?
Yeah,
like
because like I don't know. You're right. Like you don't know because you're not a business person. But like
she probably
is telling me like
she probably didn't feel like she was missing out on the bread because like she has a large clientele. Like she makes a lot of money daily. So like you know, missing out on that probably didn't mean as much to her as like the exposure that she would get from getting that tag. And like I totally get that, and I respect that.
Yeah, I respect the fuck out of it.
I just know that if it was me and I was like faced with that question, I'd be like, wait.
I'd be a little like caught off guard.
Yeah, I'd be like, girl,
like what you talking about though?
Like, and it was a snowy day that day. Like, she was driving in the snow from Dorchester to Cambridge, and I'm like, girl, and then making sure she could come back on time to do my hair, and I had places to be because that was the day of the Static anniversary, so I had to be at Kinross, and I was just like, yo, like,
what the fuck?
Today it kind of like took a crazy turn, but like good for her. Like I was so proud. Like I was in no position to be a hater, and like that's just not in my nature, anyways. Like I'm not a hating ass bitch, so I was like, wow, like. she called me and she felt so bad. I was like, girl, don't even trip. I'm already here. I have my fit for my next event. I have my makeup. I'll just do it and sit pretty while I wait for you. Like, I don't care. Do your thing. Take your opportunity. Because, like, what you miss is literally going to be for somebody else.
Exactly.
And then you're going to sit there bitter, like, why didn't I take that chance? So, like, if it were me, I would take the chance. So I can't even be mad at someone. Like, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
No bullshit.
It just is what it is. And you got to do what you got to do for yourself first. Like, I'm learning that still. Like, it's a hard thing to, like, unlearn.
It's an everyday thing, like literally every day.
Literally.
New steps.
I still catch myself, like, being nice to people and, like, putting them before me. And I'm like, wait, stop that.
We're not
Like,
doing that anymore.
I'm like, no, I can't. But, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like you have to, like, you also have to listen to your intuition and, like, know what's right for you. So, if it feels like, okay, like, I need to do this, like, you can't let anybody stop you from, like, catching your blessing, you know?
Yeah, for real. I wanted to talk more about the single that you have coming up, and then you also have, like, a bunch of events coming up that I see. Let's get into it.
Yeah, so my single drops next Wednesday, April 12th. It's called Life You Chose. It's featuring Nate Nix. Co-produced by two people. So there were two people that produced it. It was My Compiled Thoughts. He's a Boston native, but he lives in LA. And also Shandelle, which, like, everybody knows Shandelle, master on the keys. He's crazy. So they cooked that up for me in, like, November. And then once I got invited to the chamber, I was like, ooh, like, I could plot, like, I could use Nate as a feature and, like, just really take this opportunity. And that's when, like, I made the decision to have Nate on the record. And I was really pushing, and, like, as slow as the process was in the beginning, it really picked up and, like, started moving way faster once I, like, needed to have that deadline of, like, okay, this needs to be done by the chamber. So then, like, Nate hopped on it. It was fire. And just, like, the whole process of the song in general, like, it just means a lot to me because, like, I had pushback for the song. Like, I wanted to release it in March because it was right after the chamber, but, like, things happen and you learn lessons in, like, releasing music, especially when there's a big team. You learn a lot of lessons in, like, okay, like, this is what needs to happen so that everybody can profit from this equally and fairly, and so that we can all, like, be happy and, like, celebrate this together once it's out. So because of that, like, I had to wait to drop it till now, but, like, it's something I've accepted and I'm much happier about. And just, like, the whole meaning behind the song, because, like, I'm basically just explaining that as much as I'm, like, an empathetic person and, like, I care about people deeply, and anytime I'm, like, in like friendships with people or, like, relationships with people, I feel like I'm always the person that's, like, I always feel like a therapist for my friends, kind of.
I feel that.
So, like, anytime there's a problem, like, well, what can I do to help? Or, like, oh, are you okay? Oh, do you want to talk about it? Do you want to vent? Da-da-da-da. And, like, that's cool. But you also need to take space for yourself, because as much as, like, you want to be there for people, it can also be very consuming. And, like, you have to realize that, like, some people, like, 90% of your experiences with people is based off projection. And, like, when you're receiving so much, like projection onto you, like, you start to realize and, like, see things clearer, that people are just burdening you with their issues. And to do that is almost kind of like, it's like disrespectful of people's, like, emotional boundaries. So in the song, I'm just, like, basically talking about, like, even though, like, I love and care about all of you deeply, like, sometimes I just need to, like, set this line and be like, okay, here's me, here's you. Let's just keep the line there for now. Like, because if not, like, I'm going to literally be, like, consumed and drained by, like, your problems or, like, your issues or, like, things that I can't even solve for you. So it's like, if I can't even, like, help you and it's still draining me, like, we got a problem. And, like, I just learned that I had to, like, sit with it and just be like, okay, like, I spoke to this person, or, like, I helped so-and-so with, like, their dilemma. Cool. I'm going to let it roll off my shoulders, and then I'm going to move forward and be like, okay, I let it go. It's cool. It's not mine.
Like,
it doesn't belong to me.
For yourself.
Yes. Like, I consider emotions to be, like, they're just like visitors. They're just temporary guests. So, like, whether it's your own emotions or, like, somebody else's, it's just temporary. So, like, you got to let it pass through, and you have to be, like, comfortable with letting it go for you to be like, okay, I'm fine. This is not really going to drain me that much. And then you can just move on and move forward, and, like, you take whatever you take from that experience, but you're not going to let it, like, consume you, and like it's not gonna ruminate in your mind so much. So that's basically like the premise of the song. And then I feel like Nate's verse kind of takes like a more personal spin on it, because like I don't know where he was coming from like when he wrote his verse, but like you can tell that it's kind of putting like a magnifying glass on like the umbrella term and like the umbrella subject of the song, because it sounds like more of like a personal situation between him and one person.
Got you.
Or like it sounds like it's coming from like a perspective of like, hey, like talking to someone, like whether he was talking to somebody or not, it's definitely like a little bit of a contrast from like my parts of the song, which is why I like it so much. And it still fits with the theme. So I'm just dope. Like, because he was talking about like learning to like let go of like a person is what it sounds like in the verse, and that he had to like accept that like shit was like static. Like shit was static, like it wasn't moving, and he had to like, it's a hard pill to swallow, but like he had to accept that and just like, you know, let it go and just, you know, let them do them, or whoever he was talking about. And I'm just very proud of that song because it's a great song. I've gotten to perform it on numerous occasions already. Like I did it first at the Chamber, I did it again at a show I had in March on Front Street, and I'm also going to do it at my headliner, and that's like the perfect segue. So like I have my very first headliner in May, and I'm so excited about it because these are things I prayed on. Like I prayed on this. Like I always wanted my own show, and I wanted it to be like executed like to the best of my ability, and like really have it convey like things that I want, and like just execute it like as perfectly as I can, because I'm a big perfectionist. So we've had this idea for like a while now. Zeus and Earl, which is he's also a producer at Zen, but the two of them are like my business administrators on the whole thing. So like they've wanted this show for me for months, but like I guess it took them a while to like tell me that. And so when they told me, I was like, I'm gonna have a headliner, like this is so crazy. So like it didn't take much thought to like realize like who I wanted as like the openers, but I was like, everything is gonna be very intentional. Like it's called Spring Awakening because it's like in May, and that's like, you know, April showers bring May flowers. So like it's all gonna be like blossoming and pretty, and it's gonna be warmer outside because fuck the winter. Like I'm so over it, and it's just gonna be like more sultry. Like I love like live music, and I love like acoustic performances where you get to like see more of an artist like
raw,
like versatility, like more of their versatility and like what else they have to offer. And I feel like in my acoustic performances, it's a completely different vibe from like when I have backing tracks. Like my energy at the Chamber was crazy. Like I was coming with it, and I was like, hey, like this is me. Y'all better fuck with me. Y'all better tap in. But like on an acoustic performance or like like live music, it's so different.
Like the one at Front Street.
I'm more like soft, and I'm like, I love you guys. Like thanks for sharing your energy. It's like so like polar opposites. But like I kind of love that, and like I feel like I'm tapping into like this soft side way more for the show, because I'm doing a lot of intentional stuff for it. It's gonna be Friday, May 5th. It's from 8 to midnight. It's at Zen Studios, which is in Woburn. It's kind of a troop out for some people, but like it's gonna be such a beautiful night. We ball, and it's gonna be such a beautiful night, and there's gonna be an after party and everything. So like,
I know, I just see that. I was like,
literally, I posted about it. I was like, hey guys, I don't know, like we're doing as much as we can with what we have to like still make it like as special as possible. And like I had originally like set the bar really high for myself, and I was like, let's do it at Front Street, but like it was really just a capacity thing for me. I was like, oh, I just want more space, but like, you don't want to like aim too high. So I was like, well, let's do it somewhere that is like familiar and like a loving space, and it's just gonna make everything like more intimate, because like I love an intimate performance. So I was like, this is gonna be perfect, and I'm just super excited about it because I'm gonna do the song there too. And I'm going to do a lot of covers. I realized this year that I love doing covers in like live performance. It's so fun. Like with a backing track, it's very different, but like live instrumentation, doing a cover is so beautiful.
For real.
So it's going to be a very special night. I'm very excited about all of these things.
Be on the lookout, May 4th.
May 5th.
My bad.
So April 12th and May 5th.
Mayo?
Yeah, literally, it's on Cinco de Mayo, and it's a Friday. So I'm like, LOL, people are gonna want to turn up and like go to the bars. Like, no, come to my show instead.
Fuck a bar.
Come to my show instead. Don't go to the club. Don't come to my show.
Period.
Yeah,
We will
Cinco de
be
Mayo
there.
club vibes is crazy.
Yeah, that's
Crazy.
I mean, it's a Friday night. Some people might go. You never know.
True. But I wanted to talk about kind of your history with performing and stuff like that. Obviously, you seem like you're someone who's very comfortable and like has a time and a place. You know, you tap into what you want to tap into. So I know you've probably been performing for a while now with like church and stuff like that. But if you have like any advice or kind of how you went about finding your confidence and stage presence and stuff like that, what would you say? Or kind of how has that journey been like for you?
I think it's important to like find, like, to explore yourself and to like know yourself more, because that's the only way you're gonna be able to like find things that work specifically for you, because not everybody's tactic is gonna work the same. Like I've never been a person to have stage fright, so I've never been like, oh my God, like I feel like, you know, I have to picture everybody naked, or like I have to like close my eyes, or like I just have to like look out at the spotlight so that I don't see anybody. Like no, like looking up is definitely important though. I will say,
you don't
like,
look at the crowd, you look
like
straight
the cheat
ahead.
code is to look straight ahead or like slightly above the like horizon line. That is very important, and that really helps.
Yes,
but like any like standard tactic to like combat stage fright, I'm just like I don't really resonate. Usually like before a performance or like before a show, I always feel like I have to shit, and like that's really just like adrenaline, if I'm being for real. And like it goes away immediately. Like I remember dance competitions, it used to be so crazy. Like I would not eat like all day, and then I'd be backstage and I'm like, fuck, like I have to shit so bad. Like I really feel like it could happen like any second now. And then like as soon as I get on stage and I do the combo, I'm like, I was just playing, like just kidding. Like, my brain was just making me a little like delulu, but it's like it's cool. But I think now that I like know myself better, and I know that like I really just need to like make sure I'm calm before a show. Like I'm always doing like a little bit of like breathing by myself, or like sometimes I'll have headphones on and I'm like just like listening to my set, or like listening to music, or like like even just having them on to like tune out noise.
So you have your ritual.
Yeah, I just like take deep breaths and I like calm down. I usually just try to like set an intention or like an affirmation for like how I want things to go. And that's like really it. I mean, I always try to drink tea and water too before.
Smart.
But if I had to give like advice to people, it would just to like be to know yourself, like study yourself, get to know yourself better, like familiarize you with you, so that you know personal ways to like, I guess, like customize your like pre-show ritual or like your performance so that you're not as nervous. Everything you do like has to be intentional, so you have to like be like, okay, I'm performing at a club Friday night. What fit am I gonna wear that's gonna represent a club vibe really well? Like, how am I gonna talk to the audience in a club vibe that's gonna like make everybody stay like turn, and we're not gonna put people to sleep and make people leave the club or make them turn the lights on? That would be so embarrassing. I know. Imagine if you're performing at a club and they turn the lights on. I'd be like, what the fuck? Like, oh my.
I'm all sweaty and shit, bro. Chill.
Literally.
Chill on me.
But like you have to like tailor your performances and like cater to them the way that you need to cater to them, and it's all gonna be different. Like me performing in church, super serious, like super reserved, like I'm being very conservative, and I'm not like, I'm modest, I'm not showing much, and I'm like just there focused with the intention of like giving praise, and like I'm singing praise. So it's totally different from like singing at like the chamber where I'm like, keep the lights up. Keep the fucking lights up. Like where I'm like talking to the crowd like that. Like if I was like, you know, there's a time and place for everything. So just like knowing you, and just like the more comfortable you feel with yourself, like it's gonna be much easier to perform. Cause like I noticed like even with like my style and how my style has evolved, it feels so much like more genuine, and like there's like less thought that goes into like me performing, because I just feel like myself. So it feels a lot better to just be at a place where I know a lot about me, but I'm still like getting to know me. And the more performances I have, it's gonna be so like singular and unique to me, which I'm very excited to see. Like wherever I end up in like 2 year, even next year, like I'm very excited to see like where that goes and like how my brand becomes more singular. So yeah, that's I guess the advice that I'd give.
That's fire.
Yeah.
That
That's
is
fire. That's fire.
What, like, do you have any pet peeves about, like, the music industry or society in general, or both?
Big pet peeve.
Big pet
My big pet peeve. My number one pet peeve is when people chew with their mouth open. I hate that shit. Like, that's a very common
Absolutely.
one, but I hate that shit. Like,
Yeah.
with a passion. Or like when people are like talking or like they're doing something and I can hear like
Oh,
a
stop.
lip smacking. I'm like, ugh, like
I hate
that
that.
shit makes my skin itch. So like, no, I can't hear that. Usually, if I hear it, I try to
not
tune it
hearing
out.
that. I'm not
yeah, we're
hearing
not
that.
hearing that.
We're
It's
not hearing
tuned
that.
out.
Yeah.
But then like, as far as a pet peeve in the music industry,
A lot to unpack here.
yeah, like, I think it's still, I wouldn't say it's a pet peeve, but it's just something that irks me. I just still don't like how male dominated the space is.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, sometimes it just feels like we're fighting like tooth and nail to get what we deserve as
Yeah.
women.
Absolutely.
And just like femmes, period, like in a space like that is so hard for you to like make that climb up. Like,
Yeah.
and just like the way people get like belittled and like just like the sexual like abuse that is still prevalent in the industry. It's just like, damn, like hearing shit like that is just like, wow. Like Demi Lovato is a really good example.
Yeah.
Like their song, I think it's called like 29 or whatever.
Yeah, I know
where they're
what you're
talking about
about.
their previous relationship with that guy. I don't remember who it was, but he was like
Yeah.
much older and was like abusing them.
It was the dude from that 70s show.
Oh shit!
Show.
Wait! Oh my god! Yes, the
what-
Spanish guy,
Yeah.
the guy that was Fez. Oh my god, I
Yeah.
fucking
That's
forgot his
crazy.
name. I forgot his name, but I love that show too, which is why I'm
Yeah.
also like very like, ugh, like
It's so
are you
Like, why'd you
serious?
do
Like,
that?
Yeah, like why did you do that? And like just the fact that they were able to like. See, that's something I admire, that like they were able to like put that in a song and like not be ashamed to release that, even though
Right.
that takes so much balls. Like Demi is actually like crazy inspiring person and artist to like do that. But just the fact that like that's coming to light, like that's so sad. Like
It
I want
is.
better for like everybody. Like even like people who like aren't necessarily like they don't necessarily identify like as female, like even non-binary, like queer,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
like anybody who's a part of that, like who identifies however they identify, but like just dealing with that adversity like
Yeah.
in the music industry is just like sad, especially like, you know, people who are like non-binary or part of like the LGBTQ community or like black femmes and just like other minorities. Like the fact that we all have to like push through 10 times harder to get like not even a fraction of what
Yeah.
other people get is like, it's not deserved, and it's not
Not at all.
that should be pissing me off. And just like every day you wake up and you hear a new story about that shit. Like
I was just gonna say something like that. Like social media really like has brought so much to
Attention,
light,
yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
like it's good and bad, because it's good to get that attention so people can like know what's going on.
Yeah,
and, like work
100%.
towards fixing it.
like
but,
awareness is super important.
Yeah,
about
but like
it.
it's fucking horrible. Like it just sucks.
And
like, that is how it
accountability is super important.
Yeah.
that also is like a big pet peeve, is that like people don't take accountability with like where they fuck up at in like a collaborative process or like just in the industry in general, like where they fuck up when it comes to like knowing their place or like what they contributed to something. It's like just be able to like be like, I fucked up, or like I'm sorry, or like how can I make this better for you, or how
Yeah.
can I alleviate this stress, like
Yeah. And be genuine about it.
Yeah.
be
Like-
genuine and be intentional.
Yeah.
Like I'm really grateful that like even though I've grown up like in the local scene, even though I've grown up like with so many like men around me and like I was mentored by so many men locally, I'm so grateful that none of them have ever put their hands on
Yeah.
me. None of them have ever put me in danger. Like none of them have ever done anything that would make me question like their morals and like
Yeah.
their values and how they view like my relationship with them. It would like, I'm very grateful that like it's only ever been like supportive and like what can I do for you, and like they look at me like a little sister, and it's just
Yeah.
like that's really essential, because like I know that if I like came up a totally different way, I would not have that same support, and like it would be
No.
very much so like it would be very different. Like
Yeah.
I'm already a person who like is very weary of like how men can treat women and like
Yeah.
how they can like objectify and sexualize women, and I've like been a victim of that myself. So it's just like I wouldn't want to be dealing with that on a consistent basis in an industry like this, where it's like I'm just like, why do we have to fight for like what we're passionate about? Like, why do I have to fight to like create? Like, what the fuck? Like, what is that?
No bullshit.
Yeah.
So that's like a major pet peeve. Like, I really can't get behind any of that shit. And just like something I've also just found like really annoying too is like sample clearing. Especially when it comes to like popular shit. Like, I understand it. Like, I understand like, you know, you need to pay an artist like their respect if they're like super revered and they're like really talented and they've been in the scene for like generations. Like, if they're a generational artist, like I totally get that. And like I totally stand behind like, you know, like they deserve their flowers, and like it took them forever to get to this point. Like, that's admirable. That's very respectful, and like that's respectable, and like that's, you know, you earned that and you worked for it. But like I just feel like a lot of like sampling is becoming so prevalent in the industry that it's like it shouldn't take so much struggle for you to get to like these people's, you know, and be like, yo, can I please clear that? Like, bro, Pink Panthers is like the perfect example. Like, my favorite song by Pink Panthers is Just a Waste, and she literally samples Off the Wall by Michael Jackson. And for them to like even clear that, like it's been such a mess for like 2-3 years, because like it's been on streaming, then it was taken off streaming. It was on YouTube, it got taken off YouTube, and it's just like, damn, like she sampled
so
it, yes, but like she made it her own too, because she interpolated it. Like, she changed the lyrics. She wasn't really like keeping too much of his voice in it. Like,
But also, it's paying homage to the artist.
Exactly.
Like, if you're
like
using a
literally,
sample, you fuck with their
like,
shit.
I'm not like, I mean, I'm sure that there are, like, you know, there's so many artists out in the world. Like, I'm sure that there are people who have sampled something and like actually
give a
talk
fuck.
down on the artist that they're sampling, or like they like
That's
just
some
end up-
drill shit, though.
Yeah, but it's
facts.
just like I feel like I wish there was like an easier process to like clearing samples. Like, this guy, he's local too. His name is Lex. Listen to Lex, and he has a sample in a song. I think he sampled "Overnight Celebrity" by Twista with Kanye West, and I was like, yo, like, this song needs to drop, but I know he's never gonna get the sample clear. Like, what the fuck? Like, he posted the snippet on Instagram one time, and he was like, enjoy this, y'all. It's probably never gonna come out. I'm like, what the fuck?
He's
Like,
real
I
for
wish,
that.
like, I wish it was easier. Like, I wish sampling was like an easier, like, sample clearing was an easier process. But
Definitely.
like, yeah, I wouldn't say I have like too many pet peeves, but I would say one more definitely is like viral. I don't know if virality is a word. Is that a word?
I don't know, but I already know.
Just like people, just like the whole concept of like going viral. Like,
Viral
I think it's
culture.
viral culture. Like, it's just way too accessible. Like,
Yeah.
It's too much.
bro, the wrong people be blowing up and getting
That's
like
what
going
I'm
viral, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
like, why? Like, especially as Boston artists, like, I feel like it's hard for us to go viral. So I'm just like,
It is.
I'm like, damn, I really gotta like put in extra hours just to go viral like once on like
Yeah.
TikTok or like Instagram or Twitter, and I'm just like, why is it so easy for everybody else?
bullshit.
Like, you could post like a video of like you shaking ass and you'll go viral, and then you could literally make a whole career off that. And it's
Yeah.
like,
Which is fucking crazy.
it's like I post a video of me throwing ass, and it's like I get like 20 likes, and I'm like,
Literally,
damn, like
literally,
y'all, like. I mean, not to say that that's how I would want to like go viral, but like, you know what I'm saying, like. And like, it's so funny because like I used to go viral on TikTok for like making all these like stupid ass like sexual
It'd be the
innuendo
stupid
jokes.
shit. Yeah.
Like, I used to be like, oh, like, y'all know like the es hora de comer. Like,
Es
when that
hora
was
de comer.
like when that was
Yeah.
trending on
Yeah, yeah,
TikTok,
yeah.
like I made like a TikTok off that, and I was like,
I already know what you
I
were
was like,
talking
like
about.
when he pulls up
When
in the
he
gray
pulls
sweat,
up.
and that
Es
shit got
hora
like
de
that shit got
comer.
like 3,000 likes, and I was like, why I get likes on this?
Yeah.
Like,
it's always the dumbest shit. I
always-
feel
it's
like.
literally always the dumbest shit. And then I like obviously I like archived all them TikToks because I was
Yeah.
like, I'm trying to build a brand
This is
here.
not what I stand for. This is not what I stand for.
I mean, it is what I stand
Yeah,
for,
but
but like that's not how I want to market myself. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So like, just the fact that like people could go viral like off the dumb. I'm like, damn, like, can we make it easier to go viral?
Yeah.
But like, also at the same time, can we not make it easier to go viral? Because like the wrong people are getting viral and like they're blowing up and they're being famous, and it's like,
Yeah, it's too easy.
y'all using your
Too
platform
easy.
the wrong way. Like,
Yeah.
I had the vision, I just needed the platform.
Exactly.
The fuck she know about cameras, for real? Like, what the fuck? and it makes it like so much way more overstimulating because
Yeah,
like
100%.
then the wrong people blow up and it's like, oh, okay, like is this the right thing to consume now
Literally,
because it's like so in my face, like,
and we're such a consumerist society, so it's like
yeah.
and we're all like big on instant gratification, especially through apps like TikTok. So it's like, oh, like if this doesn't resonate, swipe next.
If something will, and like we're all programmed that way. Like our generation, I always talk about that, how we're literally.
I wish we
programmed.
weren't.
Me too.
Like I really wish we weren't
No
though,
bullshit,
because it's
bro.
like my attention span is so short now, especially
It's
after the
horrible.
pandemic, and especially after having COVID twice.
Yeah.
My attention span is like.
Yeah,
she's
non-existent.
like, she's microscopic at this
Yeah.
point. So it's like I get bored of shit like really easy, and
Me
I'm like
too.
very much looking for the next thing. And I wish it wasn't like that with like artists and like with
Yeah.
music. Like that shit's annoying. But yeah, I guess those are like my little pet peeves or whatever.
yeah.
Felt. Definitely felt.
It was more so about like music and less about people, because like I have 1,000,001 pet peeves about like people.
Of course,
But,
we
like,
could go on for days.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
bullshit.
I wanted to ask kind of what was your experience like dropping your debut EP Introspection, and kind of how has the shift been like from that to like what you make now, if there is any?
Oh,
or
yeah.
like so
There's-
talk
yeah.
a little bit about that.
So I like definitely the intention behind Introspection was like super, super personal, and it was like very much like I'm in my healing era. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna put all of my pain like into these songs and just forget about it, and
Yeah.
like whatever. Like we close it, we walk away. Like it's cool. And I just remember like wanting everything to be like even the like thought process behind like the cover art was super intentional, because like I had originally wanted to use a mirror like in the shoot and like have it be like reflective, like me looking at myself, because like it makes the most sense.
Yeah.
But then I just made it look like kind of like a
kaleidoscope,
kaleidoscope,
yeah.
like it's like multiple of me, because it's
Yeah.
like when you're introspective, you're looking at like all parts of yourself.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, like the
Exactly.
parts that are pretty, the parts that hurt, like the parts that are super ugly that you don't want people to see, and like I just feel like that kind of like was encompassed in like 5 songs, because like even though my EP was short, like I touched on like a lot of different stuff. Like I talked about like dealing with like depression and like anxiety. Like that's literally what Vacant is about. Like people think Vacant's about like a toxic relationship or like a toxic cycle with somebody. It's actually like my toxic cycle with myself, with like negative thoughts and like overthinking and like I need to escape this. Like I can't keep coming back to this and like falling into the same trap. Like that's what Vacant is about. And then like Don't Tempt Me is kind of like my forewarning, like shit could get ugly if you try to fuck with me. Like I don't like for people to see like that really ugly, like nasty, bitter side of me, because like that's really not how I am. Like I'm very strictly like love and light. Like I move and operate like based on love. Like that's literally how I came here. So like to like even say that like in a song, like please don't tempt me. Like I'm like letting people know like this is what will happen. Forward is kind of like my acceptance of like, even though like even you can love somebody and like love them deeply and they can have a special place in your heart, but it doesn't mean that like they have to be around forever. And like also it's okay to like miss them even if like those feelings fade. So that was kind of like what we touched on with Forward. And then Apology was kind of like another letter, like it was like a song to me, kind of like Vacant, where I was just like apologizing for like it was kind of like touching on like people pleasing tendencies and just like being hard on myself and like being way too like we're all our own like worst self-critics. So I took that and I put it into a song about like, bro, like I'm sorry for XYZ, and I do say I'm sorry a lot, and like even that I was like, okay, like I just need to apologize to myself too, I guess.
Yeah,
and
no
then
bullshit.
Circles was kind of just like the closing. It was just like closing out the cycle of like everything I talked about on the song, and just like everything on the project. Sorry, not the song. But it was just very like much. I feel like that was the best song I could have closed with. And I feel like anything else I would have made just wouldn't have fit the same way that Circles did. And Zeus just brought like a perfect aspect to everything I was talking about. I guess Circles was like the closing, it was like the action of like flipping the book cover to close it and just being like, wow, like look, like we came this far and like we've done all of these things and now we like know all of these things. Now we gained all this new knowledge. Cool. It's time to like accept that, digest it, close it, and like
Move on to the next chapter.
Because you're gonna go in a circle with another book. You know what I mean?
That's true.
So like that's just kind of how Introspection came about, and definitely the soundscape for that was super dark. Like it was super like, I would refer to it as like a swampy soundscape because like it was very reminiscent of like also like projects that Zeus was doing, and like he produced everything for me on that project, and it was just very reminiscent of like his Butterflies era and like the Tensei 4, which is also like super swampy, like dark soundscapes. And I really loved like having that for that project, but it's been very different compared to like all the sounds that I'm making now. Like I feel like sonically I'm in a totally different like setting, which is great for me because like I'm trying to work on versatility and like be as versatile as I can as an artist and just like tap into many different bags. I think like when I started making music, I was very much like, oh, like I'm an R&B artist, like this is what I do, And now I'm kind of just like, well, no, like I'm an artist, period. Like I want to do, like I was literally talking to him about this last week. I was like, I want to make like a rap project, like just like a rap like EP, just like a rap like EP, like nothing crazy. It would never be like an album, but it'd be like 4 or 5 songs, drop it one day and be like, y'all, this is me rapping into it. And then I want to do like a dance project that's like just like house or like on some like K-Tronada type shit. I want to do like, I want to tap into more of like a neo soul bag that is kind of like Erykah Badu. Bruh, how did I forget Erykah Badu? Like,
That's crazy.
I'm mad at myself because like I literally am so inspired by Erykah Badu.
We're here now.
And so like Erykah Badu is like a crazy inspiration. So like to tap into like a more neo soul bag that is kind of like in the realm of like Cleo Soul, Erykah Badu, Solange. Like I definitely want to make a project like that too. And I also just want to obviously like stick to R&B too and like do what feels familiar. And I want to make songs in Spanish, bro. Like my time,
me too.
I need to make songs in Spanish.
Especially, are you fluent?
Yeah. Word. So like after the last performance I did on Friend Street in March, which was all in Spanish, or like 90% of it was. Yeah. I was like, damn, bro, like I need to stop slacking and make this Spanish music. Like I need to tap into this Spanish bag, like make a little bachata and like pay homage to my country and like just like feel more comfortable speaking Spanish, period. Because like even though I am fluent, I grew up like feeling very insecure speaking Spanish. Like it was something.
That's usually the case, especially being like raised in America.
Literally, like it was just something I was never comfortable with here. Like I was always told like I sounded super gringa and like I have an accent and like I grew up in school like learning Spaniard Spanish, which is totally different dialect from like Dominican.
Literally,
like,
that's usually what they teach too.
Yeah,
always.
So like I sound super like polished and refined like when
Whereas
I speak
Dominican
Spanish.
Versus
like Dominicans, it's like you in the Bronx, but like obviously in the
Deadass.
And so like I had to really come to terms with like being more comfortable. I think somebody's calling me, but they could wait on it.
They could.
Anyways, so I had to like come to terms with like being more comfortable, and I used to literally like avoid like speaking to my family on the phone in DR because I was so like insecure and like afraid and anxious to speak Spanish. But now like that I went back in October, like September, October, and that was like the most comfortable I felt speaking Spanish like with my family. Especially like trying to speak in like my own dialect. I was like, bro, like this is not as bad as like I was cracking it up to be, like whatever. So now that like that is kind of like the fear is kind of like diminishing, there's not really like a fear factor anymore. So I'm like, I need to tap into the Spanish bag. Like Kali Uchis does it a lot, and I'm just like, bro, like I'm really trying to be on that Kali Uchis wave and like make a whole Spanish project and then like a Spanglish project. So definitely happy that like my sounds are in a totally different realm than they were in like 2020 and 2021. And I just kind of want to keep capitalizing off that because, like, I'm only trying to, like, go up and, like, make my music more, like, vulnerable, yes, because, like, I base myself on, like, authenticity and, like, being unapologetically you, but also just, like, having more fun with my craft and, like, practicing with my pen a lot more. So, like, being able to, like, release shit that is, like, carefree and, like, not think so much about it because, like, I think for a lot of my releases, I've always been like, it has to be so profound. Like, bro, like, let me just make a song about, like, throwing ass on the beach. Like, like, it's not that serious. Like, I could really do that. And I'm just
Bad Bunny did it, I did it too.
Literally, like, I'm just being a little too, like, perfectionist and, like, hard on myself about it still. But I think with more time and like more experience, I'll get to a point where I'm just like doing everything as like well-rounded and like multifaceted as I would hope to be. Yeah.
I love that.
Fire.
You have any advice you would give people in this industry? Anyone creative?
Trying to start out.
It kind of just still falls back on like what I was saying earlier. Just like get to know yourself, get to know like really specify your vision. Like it's all obviously it's not gonna come like right away, but like have an idea of like what it is that you want. Try to see things like for the long term instead of just like in the moment or like temporarily. Try to build something that lasts, and like in order to do that, you have to be comfortable with yourself and like know yourself. Like take yourself out on a date. Like go out to dinner by yourself. Go out and like grab a coffee by yourself. Sit at the beach, like sit at the park, and just like think and like get to know parts of you that you don't typically address. Be open to growth. Be open to like uncomfortable growth, and be open to change. Be open to adaptability, and also just establish a team. Like having a team, whether that's just people like friends and family who support you, or like actual like management A&R, which is like actually still things that I don't have.
Yeah.
But I still feel like comfortable enough and secure enough with like the people that I surround myself with that it's okay that I don't have those resources right now. Because like the environment you put yourself in is super important, and like it will really make or break you. Like if you're throwing yourself into like environments and settings and scenarios where you realize you're coming out of it and your energy's drained, you're coming out of it and you're feeling weird, you're coming out of it questioning things and like second guessing yourself and like doubting things in that environment. Is that the environment for you? Is it benefiting you? Is it serving you? Or is it just draining you and your purpose? So like just to be very intentional and thoughtful about those things would be my advice.
That's good advice, for real.
I'm trying, you know. We trying to spread wisdom. We trying to drop gems.
You definitely have dropped a lot of gems.
Yeah,
during
I
this
appreciate
podcast.
it.
A lot of that.
How
Sorry,
long
this
would you
music
think
is-
this was, if you had to guess?
If I had to guess?
Yes.
I want to say we've been talking for like an hour.
Hour and almost 40 minutes.
Holy shit, I be talking.
It's perfect.
I be fucking chatting my ass
love
off.
it. I love
like,
it.
It's so funny. Every time I always like guess under. I'm like, yeah, you know, like I wasn't talking that much.
It's
But
like hour, nothing
but
crazy.
but then time flies and I'm like, oh fuck. Like
That's
it's
good
been
shit.
like 2 hours.
I know.
Like that's crazy.
It's dope
But
that we love it.
That's fire. I love that. I love that. I love that.
So tag your socials,
Yes.
where they can find you on Instagram, Twitter, whatever the fuck, and like all streaming
Ear.
platforms.
Okay, so I'm gonna start with my website, which is shandelleofficial.com. And then my Instagram is the rest of my name. So you just spell my name and you put a period after the S. That's for Instagram. Twitter and TikTok, it's my name, but with 2 S's and 2 E's at the end. And it's just my first name on all streaming platforms. Just Shandelle
Period.
everywhere.
Love that.
Yeah.
Shandelle, make sure to go check her out. Thank you so much
Yes.
for coming.
Yeah,
Thank you
you
for
so
having
much.
me.
Of
It was
course.
a blessing to be a part of Pink World. I'm so happy to be here.
We're so
Everybody
happy
stream
you're
my
here.
single.
Yes.
Just
And
that
buy
shit.
tickets for my show and buy
Period.
tickets for the after party. I don't know when this episode's coming out, but if it comes out
Next
before May
Monday.
5th. Oh,
it'll be
yeah.
out.
Yeah, y'all need to go to my
Yeah.
website. Y'all need to go to my website and buy the tickets, or go to the link in my bio in my Instagram and buy the tickets and run up the streams on my song because it's coming out on Wednesday. Thank you. Love you.
Period. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Bye. Love ya.
So much I could say,